Just remember, no headlines are good headlines unless they're recruiting, in which case, like, everybody panic.
Welcome to My Got It Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I discuss the latest news around Georgia football, and we answer questions from you, our listeners. As always, remember to check out store.mygotapodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at My Got It Podcast. Finally, if you like what you hear, please subscribe, rate, 5 stars obviously, and review the show. If you leave us a review, you just might hear it on an upcoming episode. Now, let's join the conversation in progress.
So you are also drinking a single barrel.
And I'm drinking it in my new, mixing it up a little bit, but my new Knob Creek glass that I got today. I like it. That's nice. So
it is holiday gift set season.
Yes, and the gift set was on sale to be the same price as a bottle of Knob Creek, which I needed anyway. So like, hey, free glasses. So, and now when I'm really hoping that Kim doesn't listen to this episode because she doesn't like it when I expand the glassware. I used to
especially
do that.
Without her approval.
Right. Well, they were free, but that doesn't matter. Like I used to be notorious for that with like with pint glasses.
Pint glasses.
Yeah. I loved going like to Taco Mac, like on Thursdays or whatever to get the pint
for
glass.
Sure. And we're sufficiently off the rails 5 minutes in, and everybody's turned off.
All right, I'll rein us back in because a lot of like actual like football type things have happened. We were kind of questioning like, will we do shows? Will we just wait until would we wait until we preview Michigan? But we figured there's enough stuff to talk about, and obviously we got some great listener questions as always. So thanks for everyone for sending those in. But the biggest piece of news obviously is Dan Lanning. So all the speculation had been abound. Oklahoma was the big rumor early, and then we had the Chip Towers controversy on Friday, where Chip reported Lanning to Oregon, and there was a huge backlash. I've even seen people now kind of saying, well, he was right, but he wasn't right. Kind of stuff, like, because I guess they're saying that it wasn't official yet, but his report said it wasn't official yet. So at any rate, I think a lot of people jumped on Chip, myself included. So little tip of the cap to Chip. Seems that he got it right. But at any rate, Lanning to Oregon confirmed. I saw today he is their 35th head coach. That's a lot of head coaches they've had over there at Oregon.
Yeah. Phil Knight, what are you doing over there, bro?
Yeah. And I got in that, Oregon fans, the fan base has been having like a ton of Twitter spaces discussing the coaching search. And I hopped in one last night. And I joined like right before, I guess, Achilles Smith joined, the former Oregon quarterback. And he was like all fired up and like, was like let me finish, and like wouldn't let anyone talk. It was really weird. He basically, it sounds like I think they are so scarred from their last two coaches leaving and going back to a Florida school. Basically, everyone is paranoid that Lanning will jump back to the SEC the first time he gets a chance. So, who knows? Obviously the SEC is the premier conference. So, but it's not like he grew up in the footprint of the SEC. Like I think he's like a Midwest guy, which I think he's from Missouri, which again, to me, not really SEC. So I don't know if they have to worry about that or not, but I don't know. At any rate, I think, it's the kind of thing we knew was pretty likely to happen. I think we talked about that even like the preseason, right? Like, could we lose Lanning after this season? We knew it could happen. And I think like what you don't want to see is your coordinators leaving for like a subpar job. And honestly, like I would throw when Bobo left to go to Colorado State, like that's the kind of things you don't want to see happen, right? Like, they're not in a Power 5 conference. But when you get a chance to go to a school like Oregon, I can't fault the guy. And, that's what I would say is like a good move, right? Like that's one of those jobs that is worth it to go to take. So good for Dan. Happy for him. He'll be the enemy week 1 next season. Like how weird is that? We open against Oregon in that Chick-fil-A kickoff in Atlanta next year. So that will be very weird.
Very weird. I
I
don't
don't.
know, man. I don't know how I feel about it. Opening against him because he'll be motivated to win. A lot of excitement,
Yeah.
but I don't know that whole scenario. Like, I'm sure we're gonna get to this, but like, hats off to him. Totally deserved, I guess. Even though like he's been the co-defensive coordinator for what, 2 years now?
Yes. Yes. 2 or 3.
I think.
Now I'm blanking on how long Mel Tucker has been gone for. At least
I
two
know,
years.
right?
At least 2 years.
He's been gone long enough to leave one job and go to another one and get like the largest contract ever for a
Right.
African American coach.
Well, I feel like this was year 2 at Michigan State, right? This wasn't his first. I think it's been 3 years because I feel like he had 1 at Colorado and then he's had 2 at Michigan State. From what I can, that's what I think. I think that's right. Mel Tucker, that is.
Right. Well,
Anyway,
whatever. He's been on staff. He's been with Kirby for a while now, but like it's just you just rise to the ranks on this staff, and so it's one of those things where it's just you know we got to plug and play on it. The
yeah,
thing that frustrates me about it is that unlike previous years where it's like you know we didn't have to when Kirby left Alabama, he didn't have to contend with a early signing period.
yeah,
um, there was no such thing as the early signing period when Kirby left Alabama, even though they were in the college football playoff. So this early signing period day has really thrown a wrench in a lot of planning and a lot of the way that ADs have approached this stuff. The name, image, likeness, all those things have kind of played into a lot of coaching carouseling before even the season even ended,
yeah.
and to the point where like there was people that were still coaching at places that you know they had a new job waiting basically,
So that you could
or
make
you were
very
coaching.
go ahead.
Yeah, or you were coaching and your replacement was already hired.
Right, right. And so you can leave to go make weird viral videos, recruiting videos, like Brian Kelly, with his weird videos circling around.
Yeah. have
Anyway, sorry.
have we decided what his official name is going to be? Wise dog, come on, you gotta. Wise Dog put out a poll out there on what the new name for Brian Kelly was. I think that all of the Dan Mullen furor is now going to be partially directed at LSU just because of the antics that he's done and the
Yeah,
the douchiness that is Brian Kelly coming to LSU. Um, my personal favorite was Bobby Douche, but that's
that was
that's
good. I saw that. That was the one that I saw that. Oh, that was good.
But there are some really good ones out there, some derivatives that I thought were really funny, but we just need to settle on one. We had the Clown King, and now we need something for this guy. So
Yeah, yeah, seriously,
I'm looking forward to wherever we land so that I can make some gifts.
for sure, for sure. Well, we can get into that a bit, right? Because we've got. So we're recording here on Monday the 13th. Early signing day is Wednesday the 15th. Um, so we've got that going on, and then we've got like transfer portal madness kind of going on
Oh
right
yeah.
now,
Let me
right? So,
finish my I got sidetracked on the Brian Kelly stuff. So let me finish my statement. So if you're a team that's in the college football playoff and you have a coach that is going through this new hire process basically with his new school to the point where he's flying across the country and things like that, like I almost wish that we would just cut ties and just what, go be who you're going to be, and
yeah,
we'll handle it from here. We've got enough people on staff that know what we're trying to do here. um, we need to just move on and stay focused and not have any distractions, and him flying back and forth and I really don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about the organization and structure of teams in this day and age, or how it all works. But like just intuitively, and you know, outside looking in, you'd have to be distracted, right? It has to be a distraction.
I'm sure it
Like,
will be. I mean, I feel like it probably was even for Kirby with no early signing day to deal with back in 20. Well, I guess that'll happen what in like late 2015, like December 2015, right into January of 2016. He didn't have an early
yeah,
signing
and
day to deal with, but he was, from what I recall, he was basically interviewing for his staff from the Alabama team hotel, at whatever semifinal bowl they were in, right?
yeah, and
So
I mean they got torched in the national championship. The defense, the Alabama defense. Like, I don't know if
they
you
won
don't
though.
have to read the.
They did win.
Yeah, but yeah, but they got torched. I don't know. I don't know. I
They
just
did,
I
but they
hate.
also got torched
I
by Deshaun. Wasn't it by Deshaun Watson? I mean, that offense was ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't so much say that that was because Kirby was worrying about Georgia. I remember like the Georgia on the Georgia side. I remember being frustrated. Like, can he not leave Alabama? And I remember people making jokes after the national championship that because Kirby kept just saying like, I owe it to Alabama. I owe it to these kids, to see them through this season. That was kind of his take. I remember somebody, I would credit them if I could remember who it was, but saying something about that, like a fictitious Kirby quote after the national championship that he was going to have to stay through the spring to clean some things up on defense at Alabama because he didn't play well in the national championship. So yeah, I
That's
mean,
funny.
I do kind of. I mean, I don't know. I guess yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, they know enough to make the best decision. Um, the tough thing is, it's if you're Dan Lanning, you have to have Oregon in mind first, right? I mean, that's where you're heading. That's kind of the problem, right? Like they should be priority number one for him, frankly, right? I mean, I
Yeah, that's what
want
I'm
for
saying.
it.
Like,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah,
you're not here anymore. Like, you might as well
right,
just go.
right. And considering that we have Glenn Schumann and Will Muschamp, who have been named co-defensive coordinator going forward, they're already here, and I'm assuming are already. I mean, they've both been heavily involved the whole time anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, plus you've got Kirby Smart, who basically cut his teeth on that side of the ball. So it's like
Yeah.
we got more than enough. We got more than enough people that know what we're trying to do on the defensive side of things. And frankly, like, we've also just got such a embarrassment of riches on the talent scale. So it's like, it's almost like, nah, bro. It's kind of like the opposite side of what happened last year, when all of the Georgia fans and all of the people were upset when like Ben Cleveland and those guys opted
Mm-hmm.
out of the bowl game. And
Mm-hmm.
like Kirby was like, yeah, he changed it up from when they did Texas. It's like, dude, if you don't want to be here, you're
Yeah.
gone. You're out. Like, we're not even messing with it anymore. Like, you're out. Like, that should be the same
Yeah.
thing for the coaches.
Mm. That's a
And
interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah. Mm.
I don't know,
Mm.
man.
That got me thinking.
It, if we give up 500 yards of offense to Michigan, I'm going to be pissed.
Right. Right. Well, I already jokingly said that that's why we didn't look good against Alabama because Lanning was interviewing. Which who knows? Am I? Can you
Well,
check this?
it also explains like why he completely vanished off the face of the planet on some of these recruiting visits, and it was like, oh, Will Muschamp is on the recruiting trail again apparently, and
Mm.
oh, there's Glenn Schumann. Where's Dan Lanning with these 5-star recruits? Oh yeah, sorry, Mister 5-star recruit, we're here to tell you that your coach is now likely interviewing and likely going to take a job elsewhere. So we're here to stem the tide. But then it's like, oh nope, he's back.
Right. Right. Yeah. True. Am I correct in saying that we're the only team in the playoff that has one of these lame duck coordinators taking another job? I can't think of because Bama doesn't have anyone leaving yet. I know there was a lot of Bill O'Brien speculation a while back, but nothing has happened there. And I don't
I have a
think
theory.
Michigan's losing a guy. It just feels like, of course, Georgia is the team in the playoff that's losing a coordinator. like at this
I
point, you know.
I have a theory. I think that Fickle's out.
Mm,
That's I believe that there's a big attempt for him to kind of keep this under wraps, but like I have a feeling that he's gone.
mm,
I don't know where he's going, but like
yeah.
it just it boggles my mind that he hasn't like announced. And the only thing that I can figure is that
Well, I
he
mean, they're in the
wants to
playoff.
stay completely he wants to stay completely focused and wants
Yeah.
to prove something to everybody and wants to see it through with those kids. So like I have a feeling that they're I don't know. I feel like there's a silent commit situation if you
But
can
there's
have
nowhere
that as
else
a
left.
head coach.
There's nowhere left for him to go, is there? Unless, I mean, I guess something else could happen still.
Right.
So we'll see. Okay. Uh,
Unless there's a team out there that maybe potentially is waiting until after the bowl season
mhm.
because of some incentive contractual situation where you know there's all those little wrinkles in contracts that you know people could be potentially gaming. You know what I mean?
Well, you've also got the NFL factor could be down the line as well because I would
Right,
imagine
right.
Urban Meyer's not going to last in Jacksonville. So that's going to be there will be plenty of NFL openings. Does anyone dip into the college ranks? You know,
Couldn't have happened to a nicer fellow, could it, Jim?
holy cow!
Just to see, like, just imagine. Remember Sad Urban eating the Papa John's pizza?
Yes.
That's exactly what he looked like trying to answer questions at that press conference.
Oh my gosh. What? What an idiot.
Except there wasn't any pizza.
Right.
Sucks for
uh,
you, dude.
Urban. All right. Let's see. Yeah. So we've got signing day coming up on the 15th on Wednesday. That you know compounded by like transfer portal mania, transfer portal craziness. I don't know. It is absolutely insane. I saw some rumblings earlier today, and then when John texted us about Spencer Rattler, I thought that was speculation, and then like I went on Twitter and saw like that Spencer Rattler had actually posted that graphic. So Spencer Rattler going to South Carolina to reunite with Shane Beamer, and I don't know the guy's name. Also, I think the top tight end from Oklahoma has also gone to South Carolina. We've had Bo Nix is in the transfer portal. The Texas A&M quarterbacks in the transfer portal. Tank Bigsby has entered and already left the transfer portal, going back to Auburn supposedly. Uh, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So
It really is. It's like buckle up, Buttercup, because
yeah,
these kids are using the transfer portal to renegotiate their contracts. I saw someone post
yeah.
that about Tank. Like, just just renegotiate your contract by entering the transfer portal, kid.
Well, it is Auburn,
I don't know.
so that makes sense.
Yeah. That's that was my joke. As soon as someone said that he was not he was coming back, like that was my thing. Was oh well, someone stroked him a check. Um, the the thing that here's a question that I have about the transfer portal while we're on this
Mhm.
topic. So I know that you're not allowed to pay players in the recruiting process to come to your school, but if you're already a player that's on campus where you're like subject to to name and image likeness,
Yeah.
like it's technically free reign. So like if I'm a business in Athens that decides to do a name image likeness deal to someone that just happens to be in the transfer portal and currently playing for another school, that's just a bad tactic on my part, right?
Yeah, this is something I feel like we need to get Drew Butler in here and ask him about that because he works for that company Icon Source. I feel like he's got a good handle on the. That'd be a good question for him on how all those rules work. I would assume you're right. I mean, you're in college, you can profit off your name, image, and likeness as long as it goes through, as long as you have a contract, right? Now, I do know one of the things like people are going through the compliance office I don't know if that's mandatory or if that's kind of like a checks and balance that schools are doing to make sure that they're complying, but that could be a hiccup there, right? Because
Well,
who's going to sign
so
off on it
here's
from a compliance perspective?
so so actually you brought up a fantastic example of a company that I'm not saying that Drew's company is doing this, but I'm just saying like let's say you have this third party company like iconic brands or whatever. Um
Iconic brands is
icon-
Chase, friend of the show.
sorry. Dang it. Come on guys. Let's get some differentiation here.
They're
Um
spelled quite different.
Drew Drew's company, if Drew's company, um, they're approved with Auburn, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're approved by Auburn to like anything that Tank wants to do through them is totally approved. Well, what if I decide to work with said third party intermediary and pay him, 100 grand for
You
some
could.
tweets for the next 6 months?
I think you
Like
could.
that
But what I'm saying
that's
is,
already gone through the process. So like technically,
mm,
like
I don't know.
it's almost it's almost like it's
But
almost
that's
like
not
a
how it
shell
works.
company.
Yeah, but that's not how it works. You're making assumptions that is incorrect. What you just said. So basically, you have to have a contract for each transaction. You and it's like Icon Source doesn't
Yeah.
do the contract themselves. Like they help the
Okay.
contract get written. But it would be like if we wanted to say, hey, Kyrus Jackson, why don't you become the official instead of the unofficial official receiver? Something like that. But but basically, when you enter into a contract with these student athletes, right now it goes through the compliance. It goes across the compliance desk, and like they kind of okay it. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if that's even mandatory or if that's just a step that schools are recommending to keep players out of trouble. Because my point there is like, if we were trying to get Tank Bigsby to come to Georgia, and we said we might got a podcast are going to pay you, you know, $10,000 per tweet or whatever, like like is the Auburn compliance, like who does that go to? It doesn't go to Georgia because he's not at Georgia, right? And like, is it going to go through the Auburn compliance? Like that's weird. Also, not that we could afford to pay Tank Bigsby $10,000 a tweet. I'm just making this up. Um, that I don't think that would work. But anywho,
If anybody wants to pay, I'm just kidding.
right.
If there's someone
Yeah,
out
it's
there in the My God a Podcast
right.
world,
It is a new world. It'll be interesting to continue to follow this stuff, and because I don't think like they're beholden to the signing day date either, right? These transfer guys, like, I think it can kind of be whenever. So it'll be interesting to follow. Um,
some of them could sign over the summer.
yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I did want to run down kind of the accolades that the team has received, or individuals. So we had
Yes.
two
The
players were named.
trophies.
Yes. Well, we had first up with the AP All America team. So we had two guys. They were named first team AP All Americans, Jordan Davis and N'Kobe Dean. Then we had Devontae Wyatt and Brock Bowers were the AP second team All American team, and Lewis Seen is on the third team. So that was pretty cool. Um, and
Very cool.
then Jordan Davis was named the nation's best interior lineman. That's the Outland Trophy. That's awarded by the Football Writers Association of America. And then he was also awarded the Bednarik Award, which is the Defensive Player of the Year, which is awarded by the Maxwell Football Club. So those are both awesome. Jordan Davis was also a finalist. The Defensive Player of the Year version from the Football Writers Association is the Bronco Nagurski, which is given away here in Charlotte. I did not go. I talked to my buddy one of my buddies that I went to that one a few years ago with, but and we were like, we should go. Well, we didn't go. He didn't get it. I think Will Anderson got that one. But then N'Kobe Dean also got the Butkus Award. So for the nation's top linebacker, awarded by the Butkus Foundation. It was interesting. They actually give that award away at three levels. So they give away a Butkus Award in high school, in college, and in the NFL now. And
Mm-hmm.
Nakobe Dean actually won that as the nation's top high school linebacker when he was a senior in high school. So this is the second time he's won a Buckus Award. That's pretty cool.
What you're saying is that he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. He is pretty good. So that was it.
Who
That was it for the
is
accolades.
is
Just kind
he
of wanted to run through those.
is he sticking around or is he leaving? What do you think?
I think he's gone.
Think he's
I would
gone?
think he's gone. Yeah. And I'm using
Did the
Roquan
Senior
Smith
Bowl?
as
I
my
can't
model
remember
there.
if the Senior Bowl. I can't remember if the Senior Bowl already announced him or not.
I don't even think he's a senior. Isn't he just a junior? I think that's
Well,
our issue there.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, because you cannot play in the Senior Bowl as an underclassman. I don't think
Okay.
so. The question is he a true junior versus a redshirt junior? And I am not sure. I'm attempting to pull up the roster, but my internet is going very slow right now.
Don't worry, I got you. Let's see here. Nakobe Dean is a junior, true junior.
Okay. So my blueprint there is Roquan Smith won the Buckus in 2017 as a true junior and went to the NFL. That would be my guess. I mean, obviously, I would love it if he stayed. You know, I always say that if Roquan had stayed in school, we win the national championship in 2018.
Well, you know what? There's a gentleman by the name of Jordan Davis that came around to try to do just that this year, and
Yeah,
we had he was one of the, what do you call it, the bell cow. He was the bell cow for some guys to come back.
yeah,
So
yeah.
um, I don't know, man. Maybe.
You want to hit the listener questions?
Yeah, let's hit the listener questions, Jim, please.
All right, Blake Davis coming in hot with the first question. Why is so much of our fan base insane?
Oh man, it's just, many years of disappointment, hope, alcohol, hard drugs, liquor, beer, uh, fighting through several dynasties. I don't know, man.
We
We've been through
are,
the ringer.
yeah. It's 100% just length of time since national championship. That's it. I would say.
Yeah.
Um, and as many times as we've been so close, and we keep having our hopes dashed by the same people. I think that makes it even worse. Although I will say that after sitting in on the Oregon Twitter space for a little bit last night, it actually made me feel a little bit better about Georgia because the Oregon people are kind of crazy. So that was kind of interesting. So we're not alone. I'll at least say that, right? We're not alone. So
I can't imagine what it must be like to be in a conference that's not SEC and have crazy fans. Um, I don't know. I just have these like perceptions of other fan bases and conferences and things like that. Like, I know that Michigan and Ohio State is a big deal. I know that, you know, Penn State, mixed in there. But like, I don't know. I just feel like there's nothing that compares to the SEC. It just means more.
agreed. I mean, it's true. It is true. Let's see. So hopefully we sufficiently. Although he said, "Just kidding." I know why. So I don't know if he so much needed an answer. Zach SC Dog 864 said, "Do you have a favorite Christmas tradition like gingerbread, Christmas morning, anything along those lines?"
One of my favorite Christmas traditions is Christmas Eve. We watch Christmas Vacation and we do Christmas cookies. Was kind of a tradition that my wife's family had, was making Christmas cookies, not necessarily on Christmas Eve, but that was like a twist for us. But like, that was just something that her mom, her stepmom would do. The like she would make the cookies and we'd come over and everybody would decorate them. We'd have like a bit of a contest, and it was always like, ha 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 ha, John made the Georgia cookie. Ha, 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 ha. And then my kids started getting in on it. Carter started getting in on it, and so now there's like this Georgia cookie contest that's like a side, it's like a side bet, kind of thing. Like who can have the best Christmas cookie, but like also who can have the best Georgia Christmas cookie, because that's what really matters here.
Nice, nice.
And then we would all laugh at my brother-in-law, because of his Georgia Tech cookie, and we'd be like, ha ha ha, you suck. Um,
Uh,
bless. It was more like a bless his heart. But like then we watch Christmas Vacation while that's all kind of going on, which is like my family tradition. Christmas Eve, is to watch Christmas Vacation because my dad loves that movie, and like my sister and he and I, like we quote it, and like now my kids are quoting it, and so it's like a thing. That's like one of my favorite Christmas traditions. Like literally right around Christmas.
yeah, yeah. We do. We usually make cookies because we usually make the cookies that we like leave out for Santa. Um, we're also big. I don't know. I'm just a big consumer of media, so we watch a lot of Christmas movies. Um, you're not going to like this, but I always make sure to have a Christmas Story on at some point. Because it's on for 24 hours. Um, and
Suckers.
one of the things that we've enjoyed, look, you just have bad taste in movies. I can't help it. One of the things that we've enjoyed of late is like finding the new Christmas movie, right? Kind of like adding to our catalog.
For
Um,
sure.
so Christmas Chronicles was a good one on Netflix a
That's
couple
a good
years
one.
ago.
Hmm.
I
Elf.
don't know Elf. I love Elf. If you haven't seen Klaus, that is very good. Very good. Another
Yeah, we've seen it.
animated one. It's on Netflix. Very good. And then this year we've already watched 8-Bit Christmas. It's on HBO Max. Highly recommend if you grew up in the 80s and have ever played a original Nintendo. It was a good one. And it's got Neil Patrick
Is it
Harris. So all kinds of 80s stuff.
is it just a more like updated version of Jingle All the Way?
No, no, it is not actually
it
at all.
sounds it sounds like it.
It's very no, 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 no. Well, because Jingle All the Way, the dad is trying to get it right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, opposite. Very opposite.
Opposite. Oh, okay.
Which, on that note, I would say it's more like a Christmas Story, John, than Jingle All the Way. Because
Okay.
did Ralphie's parents want to get him a Red Ryder BB gun? No. So,
Got it.
but
Got it. Got it. Got it.
but it is different. But it's good. It was good. I mean, it was like '80s nostalgia overload for me. So, and it came highly recommended by Logan Booker. So, it was good.
Yeah, I like Logan's tastes generally, so I'll trust it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Um,
Okay.
the
Okay.
I was just gonna say the only other thing that we have that's like not necessarily like movie and home based is we actually just did this tradition this past weekend. Actually, um, my father and my mom, like that was like my grandmother, like it was like this tradition that goes back to my grandmother's time, was we would go to the Colonnade in Atlanta for like Christmas dinner. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Colonnade or if anybody knows about it, but it's like, one of the oldest restaurants in the city kind of thing. Has very much different than it was back then, but like, it was like a cash only restaurant until a few years ago. That kind of place.
Mhm.
But it very much has changed a lot over the years. But like the tradition was we would go and eat there, and then Rhodes Bakery I say was past tense, but like was right down the road, and we would always get petit fours to have for the Christmas party that we would have for um, my parents when they were married. Um, we would have petit fours, and we still kind of do this. We get some petit fours at Publix and stuff like that. But anyway, we would always go to Rhodes Bakery and the Colonnade, and that was like the dinner. So we did that this past weekend, and then I added on a layer of something that I used to do when I was a kid was we would go to Callenwald. I don't know if you've ever went to Christmas at Callenwald. It was like a big thing back in the day. My mom used to always be so excited about it.
I have no idea what that is, but that's okay.
It's
Um,
basically like a super dumbed down version of the Biltmore. Just a big mansion in the middle of the city, huge property, big 20,000 square foot room house or whatever. Not as impressive as it once was, I feel like, but it was still fun.
gotcha, gotcha. Um, Zach did have a second question. Feelings on Schumann and Muschamp handling things going forward. I'm really happy to see how things go with either of them. And then similar, UGA Hoops Mafia asked who will be the defensive coordinator for Georgia in 2022. So kind of with that, put those two together because I know like we've Kirby announced Schumann and Muschamp as co-defensive coordinators. Um, I think he needed to act swiftly and make a statement. Obviously, we talked about early signing period is going on right now. So for recruits and kind of state of mind, um, I don't know. I kind of feel like it will. That we had. I mean, technically, Lanning and Schumann have been co-defensive coordinator already. So kind of what does that mean, right? So now is Muschamp kind of the the primary co-defensive coordinator like Lanning was, and Schumann is essentially still there, or now is Schumann kind of in where Lanning was, and then Muschamp is kind of where Schumann was. Like, who's gonna be the one? Like, who's calling the shots during the game? All that kind of stuff. Um, and I don't know. I don't know when we'll know either.
So here's where I think that like the program is really going to take kind of a there's going to be a decision that's going to be made, and I feel like that for a swath of the fan base, it's going to be like it's basically like the coaching version of JT Daniels and Stetson Bennett. Um,
Ugh.
we have the new hotness, the young, we have the old and busted, and we have the new hotness. So
Nice
if
man.
you've ever
Nice man.
seen
Nice
if
man.
you've ever seen Men in Black, yeah, old and busted, new hotness. So Schumann obviously is the up and coming coach, right? Like he's been the co-defensive
Mm-hmm.
coordinator at UGA. He's been with Kirby for a long time or whatever. Like, but then you've also got like the former teammate and I assume like roommate. I don't even know, like whatever. Like he's Kirby's old buddy, kind of like Rick and Martinez were, right? So like obviously he's a great coach. He's a great defensive mind. I think that he fits that mold that we've talked about a lot about on this podcast of someone that if they were to pick their profession that they are most successful at and just stick with it, they could really live a comfortable life. I think that
Mm-hmm.
that could be a Muschamp scenario.
Yeah.
He was a really good defensive coordinator. I think he was not a good head coach. Um, so I feel like that Kirby's basically damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Like if he picks Schumann, it's like, oh no, like we've got this former head coach, like this defensive guru, like defensive mind, whatever, like that we need to like. He's basically we brought him in for this purpose, right? That's I think we even said that, like, oh yeah, we got a defensive coordinator just waiting in the wings, not
Right.
realizing that Schumann was such a big influence on the team. So and then Schumann is the up and coming coach, and I don't know, man. I'm conflicted in it myself because I had you asked me this question like 6 months ago, and oh yeah, Muschamp's going to be on staff. I'd be like, yeah, totally. If Lanny goes, like we're ready to go. But now it's like, it's kind of old. Schumann looks really good up there. Like I don't know, man.
Yeah.
He's 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 got some new ideas. Lanning was younger too, so like I don't know, man. I'm torn on it. If I
Yeah. I
had
am
to
too.
pick, if you force me to pick, I don't want to run off a young, motivated coach. So I would probably lean towards Schumann and like try to convince Muschamp to basically take a back seat or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Non-play calling. It sounds like play calling is really going to be like the issue here. So I don't know. I guess it really just ultimately comes down to how comfortable is Muschamp at the role slash capacity that he's in right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think you just want to do what you need to do to make sure Schumann stays for continuity, right? Like it's one thing to lose Lanning, it's another thing to lose Lanning and Schumann. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of my thought there as well. So agreed.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just going from, you know, Kirby brought Mel Tucker, brought up Lannon, like all
Yeah,
these guys. So like it just seems like it's like the factory that you kind of expect when you're at this level, whereas you really don't want to have to be bringing in coordinators from all over the place, kind of thing.
right.
We talk about this in F3. Like you basically lead yourself out of a job. Basically, if a true effective leader, like basically builds up his staff or the people that are underneath him so that someone can replace him, and that's kind of what we've been doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd agree. I'd agree. All right. Let's see. John Michael D. How do we feel like using the X emoji like OSU does for the team up north, being Michigan? He said, I kind of like it, even though I hate them both. So that's basically Michigan or Ohio State people replaced the letter M with an X to not use M in stuff. I would say I'm not a fan of it because it seems like time consuming. I don't want to spend the time searching through my emojis to find the X to compose a tweet. So I won't be doing it, but I'm not gonna like say that one shouldn't do it. I'll leave it at
I
that.
mean, imagine having to think about your main rival. Like George, George, it's like the gift that I made, from Mad Men with Georgia Tech. It's like you, how do you sleep at night? You know what I mean? Like I
Yes,
don't
yeah,
think about you.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
you grow
about
up.
you at all.
Yeah, which I disagree with, but whatever. I get the joke. All right. So I'm not going to do it, but if you want to do it, I'm not going to complain. And then he said the last team at Georgia to win it all donned red breeches for at least one game. Is Kirby superstitious, a little stitious, or are we doomed? The only thing I'll say with that is that team wore the red breeches at Tennessee. I believe that was the only game they wore them for. I could be wrong. So that I feel like the ship has sailed, and I'm staying with Kirby. There is no way he's going to bring like for hashtag uniform Twitter. Just it's not going to happen this year. It is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Nothing alternate is coming out for the rest of this year. I think you should just go ahead and like uh, come to terms with it now so that you're not disappointed later. Because at this point in the game, there's no way Kirby is changing. And because I think that he is superstitious, or maybe he's just a little stitious. And I think the way Kirby Smart's mind works is a change to the uniform is a distraction. That's how his mind works. So it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that to 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 transition off of the last thing that we were talking about. I don't think about you at all. He doesn't think about uniforms at all.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. He's like if someone like came up to Kirby like with this topic, he'd be like, "What? Like, what are you even talking about?" Like, you know.
Exactly.
So yeah. So I think we need to, hey, we play Oregon in the first game next year. Hunter's going to have a crazy viral tweet again. You know, that has a much higher probability of actually happening. When Georgia steps, up to play Oregon, you could see, I could see that happening, having a different uniform for that. But this year,
I don't know, man.
nothing's going to change. Um,
I don't know if Oregon lines up with mirror helmets. I'm going to be pissed.
yeah. Well, now it's going to happen just because you said it. Let's see. Fletcher Proctor is in next. Do you think Salyer can handle Hutchinson one-on-one, or do we have Fitzmagic and/or Washington over there? Or will Salyer frustrate him so much Michigan flips him to the other side and our right side has to deal with him? It's going to be a combination, is my one thing I'll say. We saw 3 tight end sets against Alabama. Um, and we didn't hear a whole lot from Will Anderson, especially in the pass rush.
Mm-mm.
Although I know I was watching some of the film don't lie stuff, and he did have some good plays in the run game for sure. But he didn't do the kind of damage to us as I felt like from the hype coming into the game. So, I mean, I feel like
Well,
we'll have a plan for him. It's just going to be, does the plan, work? And then will we need to adjust it all?
I think that part of the problem was that we not to Jim.
Don't get into that.
I don't want to get. I don't want to go backwards. We got to go
No, we're
forward.
talking about Michigan. What are we going to do against Michigan? Against Hutchinson?
Well, we just gotta. Well, I mean, since we're talking about this guy, so like my hope is that we basically frustrate him to the point where he just gives up. So
Yeah.
you'd like to play to your strengths if he is the strength and if he's going to be a force and if he is a force throughout the game. Like we have to isolate and contain him, I guess, for lack of a better description. So he's obviously going to make plays. So we did pretty well with Will Anderson. I think he
Yeah.
had a sack or whatever like late in the game when the game was already like beyond us. We were having to throw Stetson 50 times, like whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that if as long as we can contain him and make sure that people are like, oh yeah, wasn't that guy in that game? Like, I feel like that's a good position for us to
Yeah.
be in, is to just kind of frustrate him, for lack of a
Yeah.
better description.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think we'll see a mixture. I definitely do think we'll get the tight ends involved, though, to help.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty fair to say. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. 51-7 GATA. With the Cotton Bowl being played first, would a Cincinnati upset change your confidence going into the Orange Bowl? So that is an interesting thing, right? Because we're going to kick off knowing who the opponent will be should we win, right? Um,
Which seems weird, but it is what it is.
yeah. So, okay. So the question is framed as: would a Cincinnati upset change your confidence? It might. The only thing that would worry me there. So the
Right.
only thing that concerns me there is our players get word that Alabama has lost, and that affects the mental focus because you start thinking, hey, once we win this game, all we have to do is beat Cincinnati, which is a different thought process than we have to then beat Alabama. Um, so I don't know. I don't even know if they'll know. I mean, I'm sure they will, or some of them will at least. But in general, no. That's the only thing I can think of in my Munsoning, in my Munsoning ways. That's the only concern I can come up with. Otherwise,
Let's just
it doesn't really
let's
matter.
just put it this way. I would love for both of these games to be played at the same time for just that issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you can't do that.
Sure, you can.
No, you can't.
Sure, you
Dude,
can.
okay.
We can do whatever we want.
Yes, that's never going to happen. Because of
for, for sure, it's never going to happen. But I'm just saying, like,
okay. As long as we recognize that, that's never going to happen.
oh yeah,
Okay.
just like the 12-team playoff was coming. Sorry, Josh.
Too funny.
Sorry, Jim.
That's okay. Frip Dog, I'm going to need some help on this one because I don't even know what one of these means. He says, neat, ice, or branch when drinking bourbon. So I'm obviously ice, but I don't know what branch is. Do you know what branch is?
I don't know that I just assumed that he was like having like a spaz attack. Like, were those typos?
Okay. Okay. But so you're an ice. You're not neat, right?
So here's my thing. I am around and have been following and have friends that are such connoisseurs that they never drink whiskey with ice.
Mm.
Um, However, so I've absorbed the appreciation to at least try some whiskey with ice, but like there's some stuff that I just won't do. Like a Pappy 12, Pappy 20, like stuff like that where it's like, it's almost disrespectful to put an ice cube in it kind of thing.
Hmm.
However, I am of the opinion that if you want a cold beverage, you should have a cold beverage.
Yes.
I personally don't like lukewarm. I don't like lukewarm water. I don't like lukewarm soda. I don't like lukewarm tea. So, like, why would my whiskey be any different?
Okay. I have done some quick research. Branch means that you're just adding plain water to your liquor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
That's the
Like
term.
a
That's the term for it.
yeah. My dad would say like a squidge of water.
Yeah. So, but it's called an actual thing, bourbon and branch, apparently. A bourbon and
Yeah,
branch is simply bourbon whiskey with plain water. That's what. So it's just to cut the bourbon. So cutting it with water instead of putting ice that would melt into it.
yeah.
Anyways,
So
so
the
that's
way
the
that
idea.
so like when you have a high proof, like a cask proof or a barrel proof or whatever, where it's like 130, 140, 150, whatever. Like if the high proof bourbons out there. So if you ever see something like that, that's like barrel proof, you could put a couple of drops of water in it to kind of cut it to where it would come down to
Yeah.
like a single barrel or something like that, where it's like 120 proof or whatever. You kind of do that on your own. I am of the opinion that if you do that, then you should be okay with ice because ice effectively does the same thing. It just cools it down. So
Right. Right.
whatever. I'm an ice
Uh,
guy.
let's see. How do you like your steak? Rare, medium?
Depends on the cut. I like medium rare tenderloin. I like medium rare ribeye, depending on where I'm getting it from.
Hmm.
Um, if I'm at a nice steak restaurant, it's medium rare across the board. If I'm at like my wife likes to order steaks from, like when we go to Longhorn and stuff. I might get it a little medium, just because I'm a little questionable of the suspect meats, but um, typically I'm medium rare.
Okay. Yeah. I'm medium or medium rare, kind of depending on the mood. I lean more towards medium. Um, he asked when or will we see the red britches, but we had already talked about that. Not this year. And then he just added a comment: the mute function is greater than Dumbo dogs. And agreed. Mute button. The mute button is your friend. And then people end up just yelling at themselves. So never forget that.
So we have the Disney dogs and we have the offshoot Dumbo dogs.
Right, right, exactly. Correct, correct.
I need we need to get Avenger dogs somewhere around here.
All right, so I didn't know if we were going to get this, in an off week episode, but Coach Trillbill sent in his holiday season over unders. So again, I've lost the music, so we'll just go straight into it. So, yeah, okay, thank you for saving the segment. Let's see, dog Twitter Christmas bourbon picks, and that would be either bourbon with tree or lights in the background. Over under set at 250. And this is where I have to add that you've already contributed to this because you did that the other night when you
Totally
were
did.
watching Christmas Vacation. So
Listen,
I'm gonna slam the over.
I'm gonna slam the over too. And
Yep.
a matter of fact, I would encourage any listeners out there to tweet us your birthday Christmas tree photos, just so that we can track this a little easier.
We're we're
I
we're
highly, I highly recommend the portrait mode if you're an iPhone user. The portrait
yes,
mode takes a
yes.
fantastic like blur effect in the background, so
Hmm.
then you get to really accentuate your bourbon while you're taking the picture.
So
Don't ask me how I know.
why haven't we
It's
done
almost
this more during the season? Like these are the over unders that we can kind of sort of influence.
yes, yes.
Amazing.
Tweet us the bourbon pictures, just because I want
Uh,
to like get some ideas.
right, right. Let's see. Twitter pictures of UGA themed Christmas trees. Over under sit at 50.
Mm, that's
I feel
got to
like
be
that's
the
a.
over.
I think so too. I feel like
I
that's a
got.
decent line. It makes me kind of think about it, but I'm
I
going to say
feel
over.
I feel like there's a solid, at least 10 because I can recall.
Hmm.
I feel like there's several Twitterers out there that that have already posted their dog ones.
Right.
Technically, I guess as I look at mine, I don't know. Can you see? Mine is like got red and black already kind of inherently on it. Can you see mine?
Mm. I can. The people can't, but I can. I can see it.
The people can't. The wife added like the red and black kind of plaid
Mm.
ribbon from top to bottom that
Nice.
stripes my tree with a red and white Merry Christmas sign across it. It's
We
very
came
fancy.
home the other night to some torn up ornaments and one guilty looking dog named Munson. Like, so we have two dogs. So you only have one dog, so you would know which dog it was.
Champ
But
Bailey would never.
I know, because he did the thing. Um, but for us, like the guilty party totally outs himself. Like Munson was like head down, like so ashamed. It was pretty funny. So
Did you
not,
videotape this? I feel like this is something you could have put on social media. Like, there's all these videos of people like coming home to stuff like that, and it's like,
be like,
who
did you
did
do
this?
this?
Who did this? And then like the dog that didn't do it like looks at the guilty one and is like, he did
Yes, yes. And like that literally happened. And now I'm super disappointed that I didn't record it because Munson was like head down, like shamefully wagging his tail, like, do you still love me? Like looking at
it.
us, all
So
like ashamed
sorry.
of
Couldn't
themselves.
help myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So we went out tonight. Lily had a band concert and nothing happened tonight. So that was progress. All right. Videos of dogs unwrapping Orange Bowl tickets. Over under set at 5.
Ooh, I feel like that's a push.
There will be exactly 5. Please use hashtag orange ticks.
Coach Trill's dogs.
That way we can track it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is tough. I definitely remember seeing at least one Rose Bowl video like that back in 17. Yeah, I don't know, 5. I do feel like 5 is a pretty good number. I'm gonna go with the under here, but we'll see. You'll probably be right. It'll probably be exactly 5. And then we've got last question or last over under. Dog Twitter Munsoning level on New Year's Eve, 95 out of 100. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be pretty high. It's going to be pretty high. We made it through. We had a good run, with no Munsoning. And that it was fun. It was fun while it lasted. But like Blake Davis says, our fan base is insane, and I'm including myself in that. And
well,
we're far enough out right now where I feel like we're not Munsoning yet, but we're going to get there.
We're literally we're 12 days of Christmas away, Jim. Ooh. So we got to do a little Mike Got a Podcast Munsoning 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah, seriously. Next episode.
But next episode. Or is it going to be a tweet series? We don't know. We haven't made it up. We literally came up with it just now. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a Munsoning level. However, I will encourage, if you are currently Munsoning, there's not a Heisman quarterback on the other side of the ball this time.
Yeah. Yep.
There's not a guaranteed first day pick wide receiver on the other side of the ball this time.
Right.
Two wide receiver picks on the other side of the ball this time.
Seriously. Yeah, seriously. Agreed. So that reminds me, I think we've got some homework to do. So again, we'll go with the housekeeping, right? So I think we'll probably do another. I think we're gonna try to just keep going weekly. I think is the plan. So we'll do another, kind of postseason episode next week, and then the following week will be the preview for Michigan. But so before we get to the Michigan preview, I think we've got some homework. I've started watching some, kind of going into YouTube a little bit. I don't know if you've watched it yet. I sent it to you. It was kind of long. It was like a over 20 plus minute kind of a season highlight video that a Michigan fan had put together. But it was good because it kind of gave. I think they did a good job. If you watch like a fan made video, if it's well done, you can kind of feel the emotion that they're trying to put, or feel the emotion they put into it, right? I think they definitely feel like kind of one of these teams of destiny kind of things going on. They got over their hump of Ohio State. That's been their roadblock, and they got through it. So it was a good watch just to kind of see how they're feeling. So, but I know I need to do some more. They're not a team that I've seen a whole lot of. So I think something for you and I to kind of do in our spare time. As we approach,
that's fair.
I plan to look up, watch a little bit more to learn a little bit more about these guys.
That's fair. The problem is that they've been trying to get over the hump of Ohio State. The problem is that the Big Ten Conference's hump has always been the SEC.
True.
Congratulations, you got over that hump. Now you got a buzzsaw coming that's angry and pissed off.
Right. True. Alrighty. Well, you got any?
What else we got?
That's all we got.
That's all the questions.
That's what we got. Okay. I'm glad you asked that. We've got a review. We have one new review, yes. And we can end with that. Let me fiddle and pull it up. Did you ask Lindsay if this was her review?
I did not. I'm pretty sure it's not her review.
Okay, we gotta put glasses on it. There really should be a faster way to get to these things. Okay. New review. With a reminder, if you leave us a review, we will read it on the show eventually. So we got a 5-star review, obviously, from Working Mom 2. Subject is great show. Good balance of two friends talking football and life. I'd like to know the over-under on how much trouble John got in this week when the Little Debbie conversation went off the rails.
Amen.
So
we go off the rails.
We did go off the rails, and as I recall, when Carter Powell turned in his dad for making a joke about mom is that's my recollection. So
yes,
no more jokes about mom on the podcast because Carter will turn you in.
He will turn you in. Rat bastard.
Too funny. All right, man. Yeah, that's all I got. So we'll be back. We'll be back next week, and we'll see. I don't know, we've had all kinds of crazy news, right, in the past week since we last recorded. So who knows what could happen? Who knows who else will be in the transfer portal, in or back out, or whatever? Will Tank Bigsby be back in the transfer portal by next week? We don't know.
Will we have a Slovis versus JT Daniels quarterback controversy on our hands, Jim? I don't know. It could be crazy.
Dude, the Georgia fan base could not handle that. We could not handle that. I will say, props to the listeners. We got 0 JT versus Stetson questions, and I applaud that. So,
yes,
cool.
They probably saved them for the podcasts that don't go off the rails.
That'll be in the Michigan preview episode. We'll get all the questions.
Sure.
All the questions.
We'll get all those questions. Everybody's getting their presents wrapped. They're trimming their trees. Fortunately, we get to have Christmas trees this year, so we're good to go.
Right. All right, man. Well, this is fun, and we'll get back to it again next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no college football this weekend, so what do you got going on? What do we do?
I don't know. Is there anything?
I don't know.
Is there anything? There might be bowl games. Are there bowl games already? I don't even know.
I don't even know.
What do I have going on this weekend? I don't think I've got anything going on.
I've got soccer tournament for Carter this weekend.
We're straight up off season. I've got nothing going on. So I'm doing nothing.
Technically, he is off season. This is representing the state of Georgia.
Mm.
So he's got his first foray into the Olympic competition. We will be playing the older boys from other regions. So it'll be interesting.
Nice. Go Carter. We'll keep up with it. You got to keep us posted on how that goes.
Yeah, he's got four games this weekend.
Nice. Cool. Well, yeah, we'll watch out for that. But yeah, no, I seriously, I don't know. I don't think we're doing anything this weekend.
Nice. Well, we did have the Army Navy game
Yeah.
that was going on this past weekend, so I know that there's got to be some trickling, some bowls coming in here, but nothing quote unquote major, right?
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Right.
Agreed.
All right. Awesome. Well, it was good. It was good chatting. We got to
Man.
keep the pace. It's all business from this point forward. Just remember, no headlines are good headlines unless they're recruiting. In which case, like everybody panic. uh, but anyway, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.